Why do people fall in love with you? Not just like you, not just admire or want to be around you, but deeply, magnetically, even irrationally, fall in love. Is it your personality, your charm, your looks, or is there something much deeper happening beneath the surface, something invisible but undeniable? Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, believed that love is not an accident. It may feel sudden, but it's anything but random. In fact, Jung believed that people fall in love with you for two profound reasons, both rooted in the deepest layers of their psyche. And those reasons have less to do with who you are, and more to do with what you awaken inside them. We often imagine love as a magical spark, a coincidence, a lucky emotional accident. But Jung thought otherwise. He saw love, especially romantic love, not as spontaneous, but as a response to something already living inside us, something waiting, something forgotten. Behind every powerful connection lies what Jung called an unconscious structure. It's the silent architecture of the soul, your beliefs, your childhood wounds, your unmet needs, your emotional memories. All of these come together to form an internal image, a template of what you are drawn to and why. And when someone walks into your life who matches that inner image, even slightly, the unconscious lights up. You feel it as chemistry, destiny, obsession, but it's really your unconscious saying, this person feels familiar. This person fits. This is what Jung called projection. We all carry within us hidden emotional images, reflections of who we once were, who we wish we were, or who we're afraid to become. Most of these images are unconscious. We buried them beneath years of repression, trauma, or denial, but they don't disappear. They wait. And when we meet someone who seems to embody those images, the pull is instant. Let's say someone has spent their whole life being quiet, careful, and emotionally restrained. Then one day, they meet someone who is bold, passionate, and completely unapologetic. Something stirs inside them. They don't just admire that boldness. They feel drawn to it, addicted to it, even in love with it. But what they're really feeling is not just love. It's recognition, resonance. That bold person represents something they lost along the way, a part of themselves that was silenced. And so the attraction begins, not to the person as they truly are, but to the forgotten self that person brings back to life. Here's the first reason people fall in love with you. You represent something they lack. You are, unknowingly, a living symbol of their hidden potential. Your confidence may trigger the parts of them that still feel insecure. Your softness may call out to the parts of them hardened by life. Your freedom may awaken the version of themselves that still feels caged. And it's powerful, but it's also dangerous, because when people fall in love with the part of themselves they see in you, they're not really loving you. They're loving what you symbolize, and that's a fragile thing. Because what happens when you stop playing that role? When your true self shows up, flawed, complex, human, will they still stay? Or will the illusion fall apart? This is the trap of projection. It feels like deep love, but often it's a mirror of unconscious desire. In the next section, we'll explore the second reason people fall in love with you, and it has nothing to do with what they need, and everything to do with an ancient archetype buried in their psyche. Stay with me. The second reason someone falls in love with you has little to do with your personality or presence. It's not even about what you represent to them consciously. It's about an ancient image you unknowingly awaken, an inner lover that's been living inside their psyche since the beginning. Carl Jung called this the anima for men and the animus for women, the unconscious inner image of the opposite sex that each person carries within them. It's not just about gender, it's about psychological polarity. For a man, the anima represents his inner femininity, his emotional world, intuition, creativity, and sensitivity. For a woman, the animus embodies her inner masculinity, her logic, strength, assertiveness, and structure. These archetypes are shaped in early childhood. A boy internalizes images from his mother or female caretakers, creating his anima. A girl does the same with her father, forming her animus. But over time, these inner figures become more than memory. They become ideals, charged with longing, fear, fantasy, and desire. They become psychic magnets, pulling them toward people who match the pattern, even vaguely. And then you appear. Maybe your eyes carry a softness they dreamed of. Maybe your voice echoes something from their earliest comfort. Maybe your confidence stirs something they wish they could embody. Whatever it is, you activate the template they've been carrying for years. You feel strangely familiar to them, as if they've known you before, as if you are part of some eternal story they forgot they were part of. That's the magic of archetypal recognition. It's not just chemistry. It's not even just projection. It's mythological, and it's powerful, because they don't just see you, they see their inner figure brought to life. You become a symbolic match for the soul image they've been unconsciously waiting for. It's intoxicating. It feels like destiny. It's the "you feel like home" moment that artists write poems about and lovers swear by. But Jung would issue a warning, because when someone falls in love with an archetype, especially their anima or animus, they are not in love with a real person. They are in love with a psychic blueprint, and no one, no matter how perfect, can fulfill the role of a myth forever. Eventually, your real personality will surface, your human edges, your contradictions, your needs. And in that moment, the illusion may begin to unravel. What once felt divine may start to feel disappointing. What once seemed like destiny now feels like confusion. Because the inner lover they fell in love with was never you. You just woke it up. This is the second profound reason people fall in love with you. You awaken the unconscious image of love they've been carrying since childhood. You don't just resemble someone they admire. You resemble someone they internalized long ago. And that is far more powerful and far more dangerous, because once they realize that you're not that ideal, they either retreat, resent, or try to reshape you back into the mold. But that's not love. That's longing for a fantasy. And the only way forward is to wake up, to see you not as a projection or archetype, but as a real, complex, breathing human being. In the next part, we'll explore why Jung didn't see this as failure, but as the start of true transformation. Because even when love collapses under the weight of truth, it can still become the beginning of something much more real. Stay with me. So what happens when the illusion shatters? When the person who once adored you suddenly pulls away? When what felt like divine connection turns into silence, conflict, or confusion? Carl Jung believed that this collapse isn't a mistake. It's a necessary step toward truth. Because when someone falls in love with a projection or archetype, they're not falling in love with you. They're falling in love with a reflection of their own inner world. And reflections, by nature, don't last forever. Eventually, reality arrives. You say something they didn't expect. You react in a way that contradicts their fantasy. You show your wounds, your complexity, your limits. And in that moment, they don't know how to handle it, because their unconscious wasn't prepared for your humanity. It only prepared for the symbol. The danger of unconscious love is that it places divine expectation on a human being. You were never supposed to be perfect, but their psyche hoped you would be. And when the spell breaks, they feel betrayed, not by you, but by their own mind. This is why so many once passionate lovers become cold, distant, or even resentful. They're not punishing you. They're mourning the death of a fantasy. But Jung did not view this as the end of love. He saw it as the beginning of something far more sacred, individuation. That's Jung's term for the lifelong journey of becoming whole, of integrating your conscious self with the unconscious, of seeing not just the world outside you, but the hidden world within you. Every person you fall for brings a mirror. Every heartbreak cracks that mirror just enough to make you look deeper. You start to ask, why was I so drawn to this person? What were they showing me about me? What part of my psyche projected this story? These are the questions that change everything, because love, especially failed love, is not just an emotion. It's a spiritual accelerator. The people who shake you, break you, awaken you, they're not random. They are messengers. Some arrive to ignite the parts of you that you've ignored. Others show up to repeat old wounds, so you finally choose to heal. And some arrive just to reveal how much of your life has been lived in the service of a story that was never yours to begin with. You thought you were looking for them, but you were always looking for yourself through them. This is the pain and the power of love. It fools you into thinking it's about someone else until it brings you face to face with your own soul. So if you've ever felt devastated after someone left you, if you've wondered why you keep falling for the same type, if you feel haunted by a connection you can't explain, pause. It's not proof that something's wrong with you. It's proof that something within you is trying to awaken. Jung would say, don't run from the collapse. Don't numb the pain. Don't label it as failure. Instead, let it illuminate. What image were you chasing? What story were you repeating? What truth about yourself is ready to be seen? Because real love, the kind that nourishes, sustains, and frees, begins only after the illusion ends. And to reach that point, you must pass through the collapse. The fire burns, but it burns away what isn't true. In the final section, we'll explore how to move forward consciously, how to build love that's not based on fantasy, but on mutual awareness, wholeness, and presence, and how you can become the kind of person who no longer seeks completion through others, but attracts connection through inner alignment. Stay with me. So, where do we go from here? If so much of love is tangled in projection, illusion, and unconscious desire, how can we ever trust our hearts again? Carl Jung believed that the answer is not to avoid love, but to become conscious within it, to stop chasing completion in another person, and start the sacred work of becoming whole within yourself. You see, when you're not aware of your inner patterns, you become a magnet for repetition. You'll keep falling in love with the same energy, the same wounds, the same psychological stories, just wearing different faces. You might say, why do I always fall for emotionally unavailable people? Why do I lose myself in every relationship? Why does love always feel like a roller coaster? Jung would gently answer, because your unconscious is trying to show you something. It brings people into your life to reflect what you've forgotten, denied, or suppressed, not to punish you, but to wake you up. And that's the beginning of true love. When you recognize the projection, you reclaim your power. When you see your inner archetypes at work, you stop being enslaved by them. Instead of needing someone to complete you, you begin to complete yourself. You learn to hold your masculine and feminine energies within. You nurture your inner child. You stop seeking your worth in another's eyes, and you start building a relationship with the most important person you will ever love, yourself. It doesn't mean you'll never fall in love again, but now, love will be different. It won't be obsessive. It won't be chaotic. It won't be a desperate grasp for someone to rescue you from yourself. Instead, love becomes a meeting between two sovereign souls, not two halves trying to become whole, but two wholes sharing their light, their shadow, their growth, together. And this kind of love, it's stable, it's real, it's nourishing, because you're not falling in love with a fantasy. You're loving someone as they are, and letting yourself be seen as you are, without needing to perform, fix, or fulfill an ancient dream. This is conscious love. This is individuation through relationship, and it changes everything. Because now, when someone is drawn to you, you won't confuse their gaze with validation. You'll ask, what part of them is waking up through me? And if you feel pulled towards someone else, you'll ask, what do they represent that I've been searching for in myself? This awareness turns every relationship into a classroom, every heartbreak into a teacher, every connection into a chance to deepen your own becoming. And suddenly, you're no longer a victim of love's chaos. You're a student of its wisdom. So why do people fall in love with you? It's not because you're flawless, not because you're their missing piece, not because you fit their fantasy. It's because you, whether you realize it or not, awaken something sacred inside them. You mirror a forgotten power. You stir an unconscious dream. You become a doorway back to their own soul. And the more conscious you become of this dynamic, the more you can love and be loved without illusion. That's the gift of Jung's psychology. It doesn't destroy the magic of love. It reveals that the magic is within you and always has been. So the next time someone says they've fallen in love with you, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, what part of their soul have I just reminded them of? And more importantly, what part of mine is ready to wake up to? Because in the end, love isn't just something that happens between two people. It's something that happens between you and the truth of who you really are.